I only got two options for you this week. And I think if you're looking, obviously, if Jordan Love was your quarterback and he got hurt, I think Malik could start for you this week in Superflex. I wouldn't be wanting that to happen, but I think he could potentially start for you if you needed him to. Hopefully you're in a Superflex league, so you might even be able to start a player there. So don't panic if Jordan Love went out. Hopefully you have a backup quarterback. Malik is like a desperation start if you don't have anybody you think can get like over 10 fantasy points on your bench. But Malik Willis, we've seen him run before. We've seen him put up 15-point days, so he just doesn't throw the ball very well. I mean, definitely, it's not a player that I want to pick up in Superflex leagues. He's just the only starting quarterback that may be out there. There's a slight possibility Jordan Love is able to get back on the field sooner than later. But two quarterbacks to pick up in standard leagues. Baker Mayfield deserves to be picked up this week. Coming off a 4-touchdown game against the Commanders. This is a player who played well last year as a QB2 for our teams, but now in a more prolific offense under Liam Cohen, having a lot of opportunity right now. We're seeing Chris Godwin be in better spots. Mike looks prime in it, ready to go. We got Jalen McMillan, who had a couple touchdown opportunities last game, hauled in one, missed on the other. But Jalen McMillan, another piece of this offense, plus Rashad White in the passing game. Baker Mayfield deserves to be on rosters, should not be on free agents in any league size. And then a little bit deeper down, Sam Darnold played pretty well against the Giants. Obviously, it's the Giants, and he could have played better. But I think there's more opportunity coming for Sam Darnold as well at the quarterback position. So if you're desperate at quarterback, I think you could find somebody like a Baker, a Sam Darnold, maybe even like a Geno Smith if he's out there. But for your single QB leagues, you should be able to find somebody or already have. For the most part, you should have a quarterback. This is for the people that are missing Jordan Love. All right, at the running back position. A couple names that might already be on your on rosters. First, we got to start off with J.K. Dobbins, who had himself a game against the Las Vegas Raiders on only 10 carries. But J.K. Dobbins, this is a player with the Ravens. We were expecting him to be an RB2 type player in the same offense under Greg Roman, but just on the Ravens, right? We were drafting him a little bit earlier last year, 5th, 6th round he was going, and then he got hurt. And the anticipation was there's no way they're going to give him full workload or he's going to look the same coming off of the Achilles injury, and he damn sure has. So, when it comes to J.K. Dobbins, it's like we got to acknowledge what it is. He's a talent. The concern was injury, and if Jim Harbaugh is comfortable with giving him that kind of workload and increasing this workload, and he looks this explosive, why are we fading a player like J.K. Dobbins anymore? So I know in most 12-team teams he's rostered. If 10-team team, if he's available, I think he's worth the pickup. He's still more of a flex play, in my opinion, than he is just a locked-in RB2 until we see it a little bit further down the line. So for now, I have him as a flex option. I still think it's probably going to be some kind of split there. And then Jordan Mason was probably owned in a lot of leagues, especially after Christian McCaffrey was ruled out right at the start of the game, an hour and a half before kickoff. But Jordan Mason came in and cleaned up over 100 yards against the Jets, which is a pretty good defense, one of the better defenses in the league. And he was having his way. So if there's any time that CMC is expected to miss, and there's rumors out there it might be another 2-3 weeks before we get CMC back on the field, this is the time to go get Jordan Mason, who could potentially put up RB2 level results for you at floor in this offense. And he looks really good. He looked better than he has in the past. Like we've seen Jordan Mason come in and not look the part. He looked the part this time around. So Jordan Mason's a name, obviously, if he's available, is a must pick up. I don't know if I'd burn too much fab for him, but this is a player, if he plays for the next 2-3 weeks and you're looking for a running back, you can get solid production out of him. So Jordan Mason, a name, if he's available in your leagues, I'd be looking to pick him up. Another name, Alexander Madison. Alexander Madison split work, obviously, with Zamir White, who we all presume was a starter, going to have the heavy workload. Alexander Madison played a role for this Raider team and got the vote of confidence from Antonio Pierce, saying that they can't avoid running with the hot hand. So it seems like Alexander Madison has worked himself into a bigger role coming up here for the Raiders. But I think Alexander Madison, he's not a sexy name, but he's been a starter in the past, probably playing with something to prove, being the backup right now. And he has a running back that doesn't have super high draft capital. I think Zamir White's 4th-round draft capital, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't have super high draft capital. Brand new coaching scheme, right? Like Antonio Pierce wasn't part of the draft process when it came to Zamir White. I know they like him there, but if he's not playing well, Alexander Mattison definitely is going to earn some more work. He did that this weekend. I'd expect Alexander Mattison to be a bench option, potential flex if he's able to stick in this role. Next up is Bucky Irving, who I talked about Rachaad White, or I talked about this Bucks offense. Rachaad White is obviously the starter, but Bucky Irving is going to have his moments. And this is more of a long-term hold if he gets more work, right? Obviously, they were in a blowout game. That may have limited his workload if they were a little bit closer. But Bucky Irving is a name to watch because he was effective running the ball. And, I mean, when you have a game like that, people are going to notice. So my anticipation is that he will get some looks here in the next couple of weeks. Would be a very easy drop over the next week or two if he's not able to show that he's earned a little bit more of a workload, but a name definitely to pick up at the running back position. And then Tank Bigsby is the last one I want to talk about here. And I'll pause for questions before I go on to wide receivers and tight ends. Tank Bigsby is another name to watch out for. Had 12 carries splitting work with Travis Etienne. And they've talked about it this offseason, splitting this work or giving Travis Etienne a little bit lesser of a workload than he's had over the last 2 years, where we've seen him break down in the second half. So Tank Bigsby, a name that I like. I've kind of liked in this offseason. I was a little, I wasn't as aggressive as some of the other guys last year. Were like, Tank Bigsby, he's going to come over and take over his starting role. But I did think there was a world where he would eat into Travis Etienne's workload last season. It's happening now. And we have to see if that's to the tune of a 50-50 split, which it was this weekend, minus the pass catching work, or if it's going to be more of a 60-40, a 70-30. I think time will tell as the season goes on. But Tank Bigsby is a name to pick up right now if you're in a 12-team league or deeper.